Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Are You Afraid of the Dark? Ghost Island, episode Tale of Room 13. So technically, this is considered season 3, but it's also considered season 10 overall in episode 101. Why? Because this is a long running kids anthology scary show, similar to that of Goosebumps. I've told you before, like last year, that I've never really gotten into Are You Afraid of the Dark? I was more of a Goosebumps fan growing up and then Haunting Hour as my adult age. But then one year after college, I decided to try and find some episodes and watch, which were nearly impossible on YouTube back in the day because whoever uploaded them had them in a different country and stuff. And so the only episodes I was able to see were that of the last original series episode when it was in its like second revival or something like that. Because the show came out in the 90s and then it got canceled. And then many years later, they had like a final season. And so those episodes particularly, I didn't really like or care for that much. And then like about 20 years later, they came out with another revival. And so a few years back, they started them up again, having its own continuity and separate from that of the original series. This time it dealt with the stories being true. See, this show is about a group of kids calling themselves the Midnight Society. They go out in the woods and they tell ghost stories. That's it. The stories are never real. But in the original finale, the kids finally face the paranormal world for the first time. It's weird, it's bizarre, it's out of context, but hey, whatever. It was a pretty cool episode. One day I am going to talk about that. And so when they did the revival, now all of a sudden, whatever the story they talk about is actually true. And it's always a different Midnight Society. This is technically the third season. And with the revival, it's always a new cast. Now with the newer revival, the one with 3 seasons, I've never really been into them. Like they started off cool and interesting, but they just lost my interest and stuff. I didn't like the first one that came out with the circus and stuff. The second one, I don't even remember what that's called, but like I did enjoy the ghost story in that only, but I never finished it in because I don't have like, cable or whatever streaming site this is on. And I didn't even know they came out with a 3rd season until one day I was researching the show. And so I decided, okay, well, the first episode's free on YouTube, might as well check it out. I always check them out. This is the first one I have truly liked in terms of the revival. Like this first episode was good, man. I was like, they really pulled out like, the creepy factor and stuff. And this season is quite unique. It's the first of its kind to not really have a Midnight Society. These kids really don't tell ghost stories, and there's a reason for that. However, when they meet this new boy, he's all like submitted for the approval, but he never says the Midnight Society. And I don't know why he used that phrase just to tie it into the show, but I don't know if he was part of an old society or what, but whatever. And this is also the first time to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to have an Asian character on the show. I don't recall in the older show back in the 90s having an Asian character. I'll have to go relook. And I don't recall having an Asian character in the revival. Also, this is the first time ever to have an openly gay character on the show in the terms of Leo. This show has never had an LGBT character and stuff. And so they're really like changing in the times, And so I really enjoyed this haunted hotel story, at least in the first episode. I've never seen the rest of the season. I see that it's on an app. I'm going to try to do the free trial thing because I'm very curious. Now, this season is quite unique. There are only 4 episodes, which is very shocking. And the first episode isn't 40 minutes and stuff. I'm not sure about the rest. But normally they have a lot more episodes and they're normally like 20 minutes and stuff. And if the next 3 episodes is as good as this one, I'm like, man, why in the world would they only have 4 episodes? I really hope the rest of this season's good because this episode was stellar. I really enjoyed it. Like it had a real true creep factor to it that made you scared for like the kids and the cast of the show and stuff. And that's like a first for me because, like, normally, like I'll be like, worried and stuff, but then all of a sudden I'll be like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like in past episodes and stuff. But in this one, I really felt like these kids were truly that in danger. There's little special effects, but when they do have special effects, it's great. They're mostly practical, which I appreciate. Um, Boy, this is a good one. It's on YouTube and stuff. So basically, what it deals with is that it starts off on an island and it's pretty remote. And there's only one hotel on the island called the Vale Hotel, and there's no vacancies. Well, there is a mother, her daughter, and her baby. They need like a room. It's storming outside. And, the bellhops are like, we have no more vacancies. You're going to have to leave. The mother is like pleading with him and everything, but he is relentless. He will not let them have a room. And he tells her in a rude way, you should have booked your appointment earlier. This dude is rude and nasty. It's stormy, and this family is in dire need. So when he goes around the corner, they decide to steal one of the hotel keys. The only room that is vacant is room 13. But he will not give them that room. He said nobody's allowed to go in that room. Now, this is set back in 1983, I believe. And so they steal the key and they go in the room and, they're freshening up. And all of a sudden, the winds start to change and everything. The little girl in the room goes missing as she's playing with her little music recorder thing. The mom is frantic looking for her daughter and stuff. And then like it's kind of like, where did this girl go? You know what I'm saying? Then something strange happened. The mom looks into the mirror and she's in a trance. She slowly walks to the mirror and the mirror is dripping water. Impossible because there's no holes in the ceiling. So when she's looking at herself in the mirror, she's quite different looking. Her hair is like wet. She has a disturbed look on her face, and her body movements do not match up to what's going on in the mirror. It's like her reflection has a mind of its own, and it's almost in a trance like state, trying to put his hand out, trying to reach her. She walks closer to that of the mirror, and then all of a sudden a weird blue demon type face appear, and then it ends. And now we're in the present day, like present day of when this came out. I think this came out earlier this year or last year, I can't remember. So then we meet a girl and her friend. It's Kayla and it is Leo. Kayla is the Asian girl I told you about. Leo is the gay dude. And so they're getting ready to go on a vacation to that same hotel. It's summertime. He's making fun of like her trying to bring a book on a summer vacation. He questions her like outfit and everything. And she talks about, should she go? She doesn't want to. She's sad and she's depressed. We find out that she had a sister named Bella, and Bella died. But somehow Bella arranged for all of them to go on this vacation. Not sure how yet, but that's probably in another episode. So they're going with their group of friends. They're going with Ferris and they're going with Summer. Now, they're also going with Summer's cousin. Now, Ferris he's the dorky, nerdy one. and he has a huge crush on Summer's cousin, like huge crush. Anyways, they go out to the island, right? And they meet Summer's cousin's boyfriend. Ferris is pissed. Ferris is acting a little too controlling, talking about, who is this? How dare you have a boyfriend? And I'm just kind of like, dude, you ain't her man. And not only that, but you're younger than her. Like, get over it, man. And so, like, while they're there, Kayla looks up at the windows of like the hotel, and there's like a shadowy figure in one of the rooms, but she just passes it off, you know. And so when they get checked in, they're going to their room. I think their room is like room 15, 16, something like that. But she's counting the rooms and it goes from 12 to 14. And she asked the clerk dude, where's room 13 at? And he's just simply like, oh, we don't have a room 13. Now, we all know there's a room 13, but it skips. And so there's just a door there and stuff. And so while they're there, you know, they're trying to like enjoy themselves. Summer's cousin has left them alone in the hotel. She's staying at apparently another hotel that's now on the island and stuff. Now there's more than one hotel. And so that's pretty screwed up. She's the adult, they're the teenagers, and she left them alone in a hotel by themselves. What are you doing, Nickelodeon? That ain't cool. Is that a message you want to send? And so, as they're there in the hotel, you know, Kayla still can't get over, you know, like her sister. Summer shows her a video of Bella and Summer dancing, and it really cheers up Kayla. And so, one night, when they're about to go to sleep, Kayla wakes up. She's walking the halls. She still wants to know about that room 13. But then all of a sudden, it's weird. The windows, little glass window things that are in the hallway, they look like they're stained with black soot. There is black goo coming out of the vent in her room. She's very weirded out by this as she's walking the halls. She hears a woman's voice through the vent into the halls. And so she's looking for the woman, but she doesn't find her. Then all of a sudden she finds the woman from the 1980s talking about, have you seen my daughter? Where's my daughter? And it freaks Kayla out. And the woman just like walks away and disappears. Then she goes over to this like empty, like this door in the hall. And it's the bellhop dude. He's like, what are you doing? She's like, I heard a person scream through there. And he's all like, well, there's no room in there. She's all like, yes, there is. And so she's demanding, you know, to see it. So he opens it up and it's a linen closet. So she's confused by all this. You know, she clearly heard a voice in there. And for whatever reason, the bellhop is trying to like cover something up. Well, one day they're all out at the beach and they're hanging out. And Kayla sees this boy who she thinks is cute. Leo brings him over because he's a little horny too. And so he introduces themselves, and the boy name is Max. And Max works at like the hotel. And he lives on the island. He lives in the hotel. And so they questioned him about the noise that they heard. Even Leo heard it too, but he heard a baby cry. Max is starting to give the weirded out look, like he knows something up, but he doesn't want to say. And so Kayla starts to like pressure him and stuff, right? And so she's all like, what's up with room 13? He's all like, there is no room 13. Like, bad stuff happened when people went to room 13. Well, they all want to know. So he's all like, all right, sure. But then he's like, but then Kayla kind of like freaks a little out a little bit, and then the other kids are kind of like sad looking. Why Kayla doesn't like ghost stories? Why? Because there's a flashback of her and her sister as kids, and her sister used to tell ghost stories. And she's all like, you know, when you die, you turn into a ghost. And she's all like, you know, if I turn into a ghost, I'm coming back to haunt you, like in a little fun kid kind of way. So because of this, they just don't tell ghost stories ever. And I don't know exactly when Kayla died, at what age, but she had to be old enough to like arrange this like getaway type thing, you know. And so Kayla decides she's gonna have a backbone, and she's getting a little fierce. And she's like, "No, I want to hear this." Her other friends are like, "Look, we don't have to do this," but she's very adamant. So like, all right, he's gonna tell this ghost story. So first, like I said before, he started saying like submit for the approval, and then they like stopped him at a while, and he's like, "Oh man, I wish I had something to throw into like the fire." See, I think Max used to be part of an older generation of like Midnight Society, because he started the story off by submitting for the approval, because that's what they say. They always say submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. Then they throw like this sparkly dust stuff into the fire, and it goes up crazy. And he's all like, "I wish I had something to throw in there. Ooh, I have cocoa mix." So he throws that in there. So there's more to him that leads onto the story. And so he tells a story of the tale of Room 13. And so we now get a different time period. I'm not exactly sure what time era, but like it's another bellhop boy. And he's playing Celine Dion. I think it's All Coming Back to Me. Whatever that song was called. I love that song so much, man. That was the first song of hers I heard. I fell in love with the song. I fell in love with her. And it brings back good memories. It's All Coming Back. I think that's what it's called. Um, and he's happy. He's excited. He tells the other bellhop boy, like, "Look, man, I got tickets to go see the Scream movie. It has like Drew Barrymore." And so he's all like excited. So this had to have been 1996, the time period, if that's what he's talking about. And so like his friend, the other bellhop dude's not really sure he wants to go, but he convinces him anyway. And it's funny, he's all like, "Drew Barrymore's in it. She's the lead." Now, we all know it was a swit and bait. Nev Campbell was the real lead, and Drew Barrymore died in the beginning of the movie. But then he gets a call on the phone. It's somebody from Room 13. And the person on the phone is a woman. She's like, "I'm so cold," and everything. Like, "Help me." He thinks it's a prank, so he goes to investigate. But the other bellhop dude's like, "Dude, we're not allowed in that room. It's off limits." He's like, "It'll be fine." So he goes in there. The room's all dark. And, he leaves the door open. He goes into the bathroom. The water is on. So he undrains it. So then he goes over to the phone, which is off the hook, and he hangs it up. But then all of a sudden, like the door slams by itself. The winds start changing the room. Things start moving a little bit slightly. He's getting freaked out and everything. He sees, I think, that the phone is not even plugged up. So he plugs it up. And he's wondering how the heck did somebody call and the phone's not even hooked up. So he's looking around and weird stuff starts happening. The fireplace starts by itself. The music starts playing on the alarm clock. He slowly turns it off and he's in this creepy like state almost. And then he looks in the mirror. The mirror is dripping water again. He walks over to the mirror. He sees his reflection. His reflection, like the woman before, is different. The reflection is moving on its own. His hair is a little soaked. Then, instead of a bluey demon figure, something emerges from the mirror, pressing outward. It's freaky, it's cool, it's eerie. And so then Max stops telling like the story and everything. And so he tells them nobody has seen that bellhop dude since. When people go into that room and check in, they never check out. He said it's been like that for over like 100 years and stuff. Nobody has ever checked out. And so like they're all like, "Well, it just has to be a ghost story, right?" And nobody knows if it's true or not. But Kayla wants to go and investigate. She believes it's a hidden door within the linen closet. So the group of kids, they make a distraction with the bellhop dude. They steal like the key. and they go into room 13. Now, as they're walking through the halls, they're pretty proud of themselves because they distracted like the bellhop dude. And we hear the latest song from Blackpink. I love Blackpink. They're a great band. Anyway, they go into the room. It's dark. Everything's covered with a sheet. Nobody's been in there for years. And so they leave the door open. Max really does not want to be in there. All of a sudden, some weird, crazy stuff starts to happen. Like, the lights start flickering on and off by themselves. The water turns on in the tub. Things are moving around in the room. It's freaking them all out, as of course the door slams. And so Max is extremely freaked out while the other kids are a little freaked out. And the fireplace starts by itself. The music starts to play on the alarm clock. And of course, as he turns it off, like everybody does, all of a sudden, the sheet that they use to cover the mirror starts to slide off. He's worried. He tries to run over there to stop it, but it's too late. He's in his trance. And he is in a trance. And he's walking over to the mirror and water is dripping down. Of course, his reflection is different going on from the movements of his actual body. My bad. And so like they're trying to like, stop him and everything. But but they tell him like, don't look into the mirror. Something weird is going on. All of a sudden his eyes go white and he starts hovering off the ground, slightly off the ground, and he's going more and more towards the mirror. And his face is like he's moving in a distorted, zombified type state. And he's pressing his face up against the mirror as that figure is pressing outward, and everything. It's don't like what the world's going on. Then all of a sudden they pull him back. The door opens by itself. They drag him out the door. He's back to normal. As they're freaking out, they turn around and they look for him. They can't find him. He has ran out the hotel. He's outside. In his hand is a tattered movie ticket to Scream, the same one the other bellhop was going to go to in 1996. He is beside himself, like traumatized and everything. Then, late on at night when the kids are asleep, we start to see, remember those mirrors on the hallway and everything that look black and everything? Every time something freaky happens, we see in the reflection type background, there are tons of people just walking around, stat minted. And then there's a ghostly figure standing above the girls as they're sleeping in their bed. And it ends. I have got to see the rest of this freaking season. I'm unable to watch it on the Nickelodeon app. Now, I don't know what's up with that app, but it never wants to work for me. So I'm going to try this other app that supposedly has the show. And I have to do like the free trial. I can't wait to see the rest of this episode. Or season, I should say. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.